All right, welcome back to Metro Scene. I'm Marvin Jackson, and I am with Larry Marshall of Pullman Porter Blues. Thanks for joining us, Larry.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, Larry, talk about this play. It's a great piece because it tells a lot of history. And also you can relate to this play, right?
Yeah, I can relate to it. My stepfather's father was a Pullman Porter. And as a kid, I remember my stepfather, we'd go down to the depot.
And I remember the depot well, too. I had a grandfather who was a red cap.
Yeah.
And I used to ride that train from Washington to Asheville, North Carolina every
yeah.
summer. And I remember the depot.
Yeah, the depot, yeah. So we'd go down and meet him when he was coming in, you know, and it was just so sort of, you know, just thinking about where he's been, all the different cities in the line. He basically worked the eastern coast, you know, from Spartanburg. I think the train, the yard was out of Abbeville, South Carolina, and going up to New York. And, you know, he'd be in his uniform, you know, looking all pressed and
those uniforms great?
Yeah, with those hats, you know, whatnot. He had a gold chain.
I always wanted to wear one.
Yeah. And we afterwards to take him on home, and he would, you know, have dinner. And then after dinner, I remember he'd still still kind of be in his uniform, but his jacket would be off, and he'd take down his violin and he started playing. You know, it was just wonderful memories, you know. And then coming up north to New York, sometimes my mother with my brothers and sisters, he would, you know, find them little berths, you know, to stay and move them around the train, you know. You know, as soon as passengers would come on, he'd move them somewhere else, you know, and they'd ride on up, you know, come up north. Yeah, it was great. The Porters were, in the black community, was, you know, very prestigious position to be in, you know. When we're looked up to. And so I think that is something that needs to be seen and presented and, you know, talked about.
You did a great job. Talk about your background, where you came from as far as just the entertainment field and to now, because you were so great. Playing in Pullman Porter.
Oh, thank you. Well, I started. Well, God, I mean, I started out singing as a kid. I was a boy soprano. You know, I grew up in the Catholic Church, so the kind of stuff that I did was very similar to the Vienna Choir Boys. I was Our Lady of Lourdes, and then I was with a boys choir, Corpus Christi. In New York, and from there I went into in the neighborhood, got involved in doo-wop, you know, and in high school I went to high school with Roy Campanella's son, or I should say stepson, and then we had a group called the Del Chords, and we performed, and I was telling you that our first professional show was with Martha Ray, who was a comedian at that time, and she had the telethon before Jerry Lewis.
Before Jerry.
Yeah, and so we did that and gigs around here and there, and then I wanted to really know something about music, and I transferred out to Xavier University in New Orleans and got involved in opera. And so I was there, and then I got accepted at the New England Conservatory of Music. And then from there, I just kind of got into, there was a Porgy and Bess tour that I auditioned for and got, and I was understudying Bob Guillaume. You know, that was my first professional equity show. And that was touring Israel, and we worked at the Habima National Theater. And from there, that's how, you know, it stared going, you know.
You ended up on Broadway doing Porgy.
Yeah, I ended up on Broadway and doing Sport and Life. You know,
one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he's a great character. You know, so it was a lot of fun. You know, I had a great time doing that, and and then got got great agents that would submit me. Yeah, some I'd get, some I wouldn't. But that's been my career. And
one of the things I remember you in is Color Purple.
Oh, Color Purple, yeah,
as
yeah,
Old
yeah.
Mister.
Old Mister,
and
yeah.
How was that?
That was great. I mean, I loved that show. I think it should still be around. Just to see the audience respond to that at the end of the show. There's just nothing but love you could feel come on that stage. For the performers and for the pieces. So very similar to this piece here. I mean, at the end of this, the Pullman Porter Blues, boy, those people are just filled with appreciation for what Cheryl has written, and it's just amazing.
And your role is, that character is just real powerful. I mean, from the beginning to the end.
Yeah. He's filled with wisdom, and how, but he deals with things according to how he has been raised. I mean, he a lot of people might think it's Uncle Tomming or whatever, but he doesn't really, really do that. But he comes from an era where you had to deal that way. It's an era, right after, slavery. And that head, but there's a lot of pride that he has.
Yes, the sun is gonna shine in my back door someday.
Getting a job like this and seeing the country, is just amazing to him.
Time.
You know what I mean? And getting paid, and though it's not that much money, there was one line they used to have in there. When you talk about getting paid, he thought he had died and gone to heaven.
Wow.
It was hard work though. I mean, these guys worked. They had to work like 400 hours a month, or 11,000 miles.
So we were going to surprise you, but wait just a minute. I left you my ticket on the kitchen table to the fights tonight.
Dad, right now I'm more concerned about
entitled to make my own decisions.
entitled, boy.
Oh, boss. Yes, sir, boss. We were just about getting our orders filled.
They were making maybe just a little over $72 a month, so, but still with the tips. That's why he's always up and smiling, making sure your tip will grow, which he says in the piece itself. So, with him, with the tips, you find out, with his salary and tips and saving and going on, this guy has bought himself a house, and he's bought himself a building that he rents out to the porters, when they come to Chicago. So they have a place, because at that time, still there was segregation. Very hard for them to find a place to sleep once they got off that train. So he set this whole place up. He's a wheeler dealer.
Oh my God!
When you think about it.
And you were so realistic in this. How did you prepare for this?
It's like I said. I had my stepfather's father, Gramps, and he wasn't exactly like Monroe, but I can understand the time period that Monroe came from, because, part of my life was growing up in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and and also when I went to Xavier, it was before civil rights, and we did the marches and all that while I was down there. So the head that he came out of, what was happening at that time, I understood, and how you were supposed to act, and so I just acted accordingly, according to that time period. I remember telling a story when I was about 5 years old in Spartanburg. I was in the back of the car, and my uncle, it was his car, we were at the stoplight, and I had just learned how to do the wolf whistle, that thing, right? Well, this woman was walking across the street, and I went, well, my uncle ran through the red light,
Yeah.
went around the corner, stopped the car, grabbed me, said, "Boy, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And it did dawn on me that this was a white woman
Yes.
going across the street, you know. But I mean, I always, you know, I always remember that, and what that time period, you know, did. I mean, what it meant. You know, and the fear and all of that was there, you know, that was real. You know, wasn't you know, he wasn't. This was real stuff. You know,
and you brought a lot of that to this character.
Yeah, and so that kind of stuff I you know, I brought. You know, and you know, I could remember remember what those times felt like. My aunt took tickets at the Palmetto Theater, and we used to have to go up in the balcony, you know, to watch movies and stuff like that. All of that I remember. When I went to Xavier University, like I said, at night, if you got hungry, you go to the restaurant, but you went around in the back, you know, to the back door kitchen, and they'd hand you your food out the door. You know, you could order. You know, it's all that. You know, you know.
Well, you don't go around back anymore.
No,
Mr. Marshall. Only thing in the back is backstage, right?
Exactly.
And you did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
We're just so glad to have Pullman Porter here in Washington.
Good.
All right.
Good, yeah.
And just have a great run. And thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
All right. Larry Marshall here on Metro Scene.